Howdy folks, TechTexN here, bringing you Kerbal Space Program Part 9. Today, we are going to the moon. Now, I already went to the moon ahead of time. I'll show you here that I already made a landing. First of all, just to test the craft to make sure that what I'm showing you is legit and not broken in any way, because it'll take too long to actually construct the craft for you guys, and then, you know, risk it failing and then having to do it again. So I just went ahead and made that craft ahead of time, and I landed right here. So I already got the points in this particular biome, so we're going to try to aim for a different biome. Now, in the last video, I demonstrated asparagus staging, and that's exactly what we're going to use in this particular craft to land on the moon. Let's load it up. I believe I called it Lunar Lander 1, I believe. 244 parts. It's quite a bit, but yeah, some of that is struts and whatnot. Now, I went a little bit more extreme, as you can see. Instead of just one set of tanks on each layer, I put a second row of tanks and engines on the bottom of all that. It's still asparagus staging, as I showed you, on the bottom there for getting us into orbit. And of course, I actually really did overdo it. Technically, I don't even need this tank right here, because I always have that tank full by the time I get there, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. However, I want you to pay attention to the top half of this rocket, and that's actually where things get to be a little bit more important. First of all, make sure you have all your science instruments needed, as we did similar to other craft. I added little ladder sections. What are those called? I'm trying to remember what they're called. Mobility enhancers, yes. Now, granted, you don't need the mobility enhancers. If you do hop down from the craft and walk around the moon's gravity is light enough for your little propellant pack, or jetpack, whatever you want to call it, to get back into your vehicle. You don't have to have mobility enhancer, ladder, or anything of that nature. But I went ahead and added it, at least for looks. Okay, so we have science, we have solar panels. The main thing I wanted to introduce to you is the reason why I have these 3 tanks on the sides. Well, first of all, take note that the type of engine I have is the cheap one with 50 thrust, and it's lighter, so it's perfect for lunar landing and takeoff. Now, if you want to, you could also use the Rockomax 48-7S, but I'd probably use that one more for Minmus than the moon. Actually, I really never use that. I pretty much stick with this one. But notice that the other reason why I built these tanks on the outside is because if you build a rocket too tall, it makes it difficult to land on the moon because it becomes top heavy. The land that you land on is not always particularly flat ground. In many cases, it'll be slanted. Thus, your rocket risks tipping over. To avoid that, you build more outward on your landing gear. So with these extra tanks out on the side, now note I have decouplers, so I could always decouple them later if they're empty and too much weight. But I put them there so that way when the landing gear comes down, and I clicked on the wrong thing, take note how far spread out this landing gear is, so I'm not as likely to tip over. So when you're building your landing craft, if it's a different design from this, and I recommend doing a different design, just, again, for fun. But if you want to build it like this, that's fine too. Just sort of a starting point so you can kind of get used to at least flying there and landing. Feel free to pause the video, take notes, and build this sucker up. Now, you'll also notice there's a lot of staging here on the side, and in fact, it can be a little difficult. Now, if you move the mouse over your staging and scroll up and down, you could use the mouse scroll to kind of move things out of the way and move things up and down as needed. Okay, I think I've babbled on long enough. I don't think there's anything else. Oh yes, always remember to put landing lights on here, because if you so happen to land on the dark side of a moon, or you go in a deeper crater where the moon kind of overshadow, or the crater shadow, the sunlight does not go in the crater, it's below the horizon and you can't see anything, those landing lights will help you out a lot in your landing. Alright, let's go ahead and... Oh, wait, we need to select a pilot. Who's going to go? No, Jeb's done a little bit of everything. Bill, Bob, y'all done everything. Let's go with... Who would be good? Lots of courage or lots of stupidity? I like lots of stupidity. Shepwise Kerman, you're going! Launch! We are going to the moon! Now, we're pretty much going to do the same thing we've done previously, getting into moon orbit. So you kind of already know what we're doing from here on forward. I'm going to go ahead and get my resources ready. Turn SAS on. Now notice I have about 3 sets of inline reaction wheels to help a little with stability. I also put these wings on here so that way we get stability on the way up. Alright, throttling up and launch. And we're just going to go into standard orbit. And also take note that I have more than one type of color lights, and the reason I do that is when all the lights are white, sometimes you can't tell how even your craft is, but if the middle set of lights are a different color, or maybe the outside are a different color, however way you want to put that. Oops, I'm not paying attention to my staging. You get a better idea of how even your ship is when landing. It's also good to put lights on docking clamps. We'll get into that in another video down the road when we unlock docking ports, because I definitely want to go over docking. A lot of people have trouble docking, but let me tell you something. Docking craft in orbit is it's a very sweet accomplishment to make. You feel so good the first time docking with a station in orbit. So we are definitely going to go over that eventually. We are in orbit. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and bring down our orbit a little bit. I'm, at this point, going to ignore this, and I'm going to bring the periapsis down to a low orbit. Now, we're going to have to bring the apoapse down as well. Let's see. We'll bring it down to about, I don't know, 50. Pretty low. And there we go. We'll bring it down to about 50. And again, this doesn't have any atmosphere, so we don't have to worry about that. And then for my periapse, I'm going to bring down my apoapse. And there we go. At least I think. 49, 51, really? I can never line this thing up. Oh, I was way off. There we go. 50 and 50. Alright, good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, but... Alright, so now that we're in moon orbit, and we're bringing down our apoapse and periapse to a low altitude, the purpose of this is so we're not going from an extreme apoapse to an extreme periapse. We're not going to be cranking the speed too much. We'll be on a nice average speed to slow down from. There we go. And our angle won't be all messed up. Alright, 3 hours. Let's get in there. 3 hours. A little faster. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, just in time. Let's see. Whoa. 16, 9. Hey, there we go. This game can stress you out sometimes. But in a good way. If your shoulders start tensing up, just hold your arms out in a straight line to each side and just start rotating your arms around a little, making big circles, and do that for a while until you feel the burn. That'll stretch your shoulders out a bit. There we go. I'm going to F5 to save, because now we're going to do a little prospecting. Now, as I said, I already landed here, so that kind of includes this biome, and honestly, I don't know entirely the biomes of this place. I think these craters are their own biome, so I'd like to land in this one, but I don't know if I can land on the day side in time or not. We're going to try, though. So, to do that, now you can do this from the Periapps. Yeah, we can do this here. There we go. Maybe a little further back. And you can even adjust your angles, and you'll notice the change in your path. Again, make sure you compensate for rotation of the moon. Now, the moon doesn't rotate quite as fast as Kerbal, but being it's a smaller planet, it still doesn't take long to get around. All right, let's see. Where do I want? Let's just, for now, aim for this edge, and hopefully we can land somewhere within it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get into position for burn. We'll be there in 31 minutes. Now, I'm not going to save again until I officially land and I'm comfortable with landing, that I land with enough fuel. Because it may take you several tries to get this. And I'll try to explain in the best words I can during our landing or during our descent the best way to maneuver down and land. And again, to this point, we're pretty much doing everything with orbits and even selecting our landing site and aiming for it. Again, we're not landing here. We can't land here. We have to compensate for rotation of moon, but we also have to compensate for the fact that we have to slow down, because if we wait till we get here, we have to do a suicide burn at the last second and try to get rid of, 500 meters per second speed, which we could probably accomplish with this particular loadout, but we don't want to try that. We want to gradually slow down a little here and there. Now, you don't want to constantly burn your fuel all the way down. What you do is certain sets of burn. So I burn a little bit here to bring down the speed, maybe 100 meters per second, because it has to take time to speed up another 100 meters per second again, which takes a while. Then you do about another 100, then maybe a 200, and just gradually, exponentially increase your slowdown on the way down, but in bits, not in a constant burn. You will, over time with practice, you will learn how to efficiently slow down. Like I said, I'm not the most efficient person, but when it comes to landing, make sure that you do have plenty of fuel. Technically, without this tank, I can land with 3 of these tanks. This is plenty of fuel, actually. 90 fuel is plenty to land with, to slow down and land, and even take off and get into orbit. Now, it may not be enough to reach Kerbal. Well, actually, it can be. I have been able to do this before with this particular rocket, but, that's kind of usually blind chance sometimes, or just better fuel efficiency. Okay, without further ado, let's get on with it. 29 minutes to... Whoa! Maybe that's too fast. I have a tendency to do that. I get ahead of myself. Alright. Line it up again. And again, I want to keep an eye on this more than I want to keep an eye on this. 2 minutes? No, we need to go faster than that. 48. Alright, here we go. Time to land. Start a little early. That's fine. Alright, full burn. And I'm going to cut a little before it gets there, and just minor adjustments. Okay. I'm hoping this will be good enough. I'm hoping I won't be on an entirely slanted hill. Actually, I might burn a little bit. I'm going to try to land right about there. Okay. At this point, I think it's safe to ditch the big rocket and we'll use this to slow down. Because the big rocket's going to make it difficult to, well, to steer. So, say goodbye, rockets. You have done us well. There we go. Actually, that may have messed up our orbit a little bit. Yes, it did. Well, darn! That's okay. I could just do a small burn, I think, from here. That'll work. Alright, I'm not going to turn on my lights yet because we're not seeing the sun just yet. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to the maneuver node. 11 minutes. Small maneuvers. That will get us there. And notice I just kind of picked a spot. Strategically, you know, a little bit before. Because you're on this path. If you slow down this way, your incline's going to go down. Or periaps. The periaps is pretty much in the planet, or in the moon. Okay. And here we go. At this point, I go to this view. And we're passing the other landing site, and we're going to be entering the large crater. I'm going to rotate my nav ball so that the sky horizon is up and the ground horizon is down. That kind of helps me symmetrically know where I am. Now, what I'm going to mainly be paying attention to is my retrograde. Eventually, what I want to do is when I get to the location where I want to land, is I want my retrograde to show up here. Because if my retrograde is right here, that means I'm falling straight down to the planet. I won't have any lateral velocity, and that will help make my landing a lot more smooth. Because if you're moving sideways trying to land, then you're risking this guy tipping over. Even though I put the extra landing gear on all these 3 tanks, I can still tip this sucker over. So we'll want to slow down. Alright, how far away are we? We're still a ways. I'll probably start slowing down once we enter the crater. I wonder if we can see it from up here. Oh yeah, this is probably the top of it right here. And you'll see kind of why I kind of didn't want to go in the crater. Alright, and I start paying attention to my altitude as well because, hey, that tells you how long before you're going to be hitting the ground. Let's see. Well, we could just pretty much pick a spot at this point. Now, right now, I'm just using the 1 engine, and I'm going to have to ditch that in order to land. And I'm slowing down quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to follow the retrograde entirely, because again, I want to kill my lateral velocity. Especially once I actually choose a spot. I probably should have landed down here, but it looks like I'm going to rougher territory. And that ground is looking a little high up. Let's see here. Let's go about here. There we go. I hopped a little upwards. Now notice how long it takes to speed up, which is why it's good to gradually slow down. I'm going to go down to about 400 meters per second. Unfortunately, that's going to put me right in the middle of a crater there. Let me go up a little bit to get back there. Kind of hopping up. Why? Because I have the extra fuel. Oh, I'm probably going to end up in that crater now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and ditch this because honestly, in my opinion, it's too slow. With 3 engines, however, slowing down is a lot more easy. Look at that. You know what? Let's see if I can't land between these two craters. Let's try to lose all my lateral velocity. Go a little further. See if we can't land here. And I'm going to slowly follow behind my retrograde. Oh, I should have gone a little further. Uh-oh. Not good. Not good. Here, let's do this. Up an atom. Let's go ahead and put down the landing gear and turn on our landing lights so we are good and ready. Oops, turning the wrong way. Heading towards that retrograde, and once again, underneath the retrograde, slow down and watch your velocity. The key is you want to kind of land at about, I don't know, 3-4 meters per second or so. Really low speed. The lowest that you can really go, the better. Alright, now notice I'm going down awfully fast. Come on, kill that lateral velocity. And at this point, I'm giving a consistent burn. Look at that. Retrograde is dead center. I'm going to reduce my throttle so that I fall slowly. And it'll give me enough time to speed up at the last moment, just a tad. Enough to slow my impact. Right now. Oops, I just cut it. And 1.5 meters per second. And we have successfully landed. And it's still on a slope, but it wasn't too bad of a slope. It probably would have been better to land out here, but you know what? We are happy. Make sure at this point you hit F5 to save if you feel comfortable that you have enough fuel, which I definitely have plenty of. We are getting back no matter what. Now let's see if we are in a different biome. I really hope I'm in a different biome. Yes! 40 science for that mystery goo. And we'll do the other mystery goo also. Goody! Observe Materials Bay. 100 science points for this one item. Crew report. 20 science points. Now, word of advice, if you are doing transmissions, make sure you have plenty of electricity and solar panels. But I recommend only transmitting crew reports and EVAs. The reason is because you get 100% of the transmission points. You'll get full 20 points. Whereas other science, let me keep that, review data, you'll only get 20 points if I were to transmit this. Now, I don't think I put any transmission items on here, so we're not going to worry about it. Okay, let's take temperature, negative 31 degrees, pretty cold on this side. That's 32 points. We are racking a lot of points up on this mission. Alright, let's do an EVA. It is time. By the way, the EVA report that you get when you're sitting on the crew hatch above ground is a different EVA report from when you're walking around on ground. So, it says just above the moon's east far side crater. So it's actually, I don't want to say a different biome, but it's different distance. So they're two different reports. So make sure you get both. So that's 24 points there. I'm going to board so I can store that. And I'm going to do an EVA again. Actually, I think I could have right-clicked to store. Alright, space and hit R to get that pack going. And be careful on the fall. There we go. Shift to go up. You can even hit the space bar to jump. But be careful. Notice how high it goes. Don't land too hard. And there he is. I'm going to turn that off. Look at that. He is happy. He is excited. He's like, this is cool, man. I'm going to plant a flag. There we go. That's backwards. There we go. Site name. What shall we call it? I'll call it Eagle Nest. Why not? They spell with K's. We came, we saw, we... Oops, I didn't even put we. I'll capitalize it. I think they capitalized for this particular thing. Alright, we conquered. Alright. They like to spell everything with a K. Alright. Let's do another EVA on the ground. Notice you get 32 points for that. Take a surface sample. If that goes back, it gets 120 points. Now, you're probably wondering what this little gray out area is. Later on, you'll be able to unlock a processing lab. If that processing lab were here, I could put that report in there, let it process, which takes up a lot of electricity, by the way, and it'll give us extra points. But we don't have that yet, so we're not going to worry about it. Wait, I did. Okay, good. Making sure I didn't hit reset. Alright, so at this point, you can look around, see what you can do. I'm going to pull out the jetpack and have a little fun. Notice that you can accelerate really fast with this thing, so be very careful, be gentle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and head back to our lunar lander. If you find yourself going too fast and you're falling, just hit shift to accelerate upward. That gives you a little more time to slow down laterally. Okay. Let's hop in this thing. Sorry, it's time to go home. Yes, we're going to go for the landing. Let's see how many total points we're going to get. Resource. And our flag will remain. And you'll be able to see this flag from the tracking station, so you can revisit all you want. And maybe in another video, what we might do is practice rescue mission, or just picking specific locations on a moon to land in, especially when your orbit's all out of whack. I've had to do that before, and trying to get exactly the same landing location that you do before is more difficult than it sounds. Takes a little practice, but I'll create another video down the road to help you out with that. Alright, on and on and on and on and on. Okay, before you take off, hit F5. You notice I love the F5 key when I'm doing this because there's just so many things that can go wrong. I hope you appreciate the F5 key. There's a lot that can go wrong. Now, if you want to play hardcore and don't use the quick load and quick save, feel free to do it. I love the realism of doing that. Okay, now notice I wanted to go sort of an eastward direction, so I'm going to go that way. That's where that big trench is, which I think is its own biome as well, but I'll have to explore that another day. So, without further ado, I'm going to aim eastward at the angle that you would typically take off from. And we don't have to worry about atmosphere, so I just go to this screen immediately, wait till I get to about, I don't know, 20, 30,000 meters, which is good enough, because you could wait to come up here to do a maneuver and get in orbit. Notice it does not take that much fuel. Now, it obviously takes a lot more fuel to get off the moon than it does to get off of Minmus. Getting off of Minmus is extremely easy. It does not take very much thrust at all, and in fact, it's easy to overshoot yourself when it comes to Minmus. Where is it? There it is. No, that's I. Where's Minmus? Unknown object! That's an asteroid. We'll worry about it another day. There's Minmus. Now, I do have the distant object mod. Oh, yes, you can actually see Minmus. It's that little green dot right there. You notice when I move, it becomes a little extra pixelated, but that is, in fact, Minmus right there. Little green planet. It is slightly green. Okay. Where's my maneuver node? There it is. Get my maneuver node. Let's head back to Kerbal. Not too much. Let's see. 14-second burn. I need to start burning at about 7 seconds. Whoa, I overshot. We should be alright. No problem. It's nothing this astronaut cannot handle. 30 and 36. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Actually, it's kind of good because the periapsis, we're going to be going a little faster. And I think our ejection point, we either want here or here. We'll kind of play with it. So now you got to get back to Kerbin, and you're not sure if you have enough fuel. It does not actually take that much fuel to get back, and I will show you why. So let's first get a moon escape. Oh, look at that. Alright, so notice that my periapse, and I'm not even going to pay attention to my apoapse of Kerbin that much. I'm going to pay attention to my periapse. So I created this right here, and now I'm going to move this node around. What I'm looking for is at what location is my periapse closest to Kerbin, which is actually around where I pretty much put it. But you can adjust your thrust to get even closer if you wanted to. So, oh, look at that. I can get pretty darn close. 97 meters. You know what? I'm going for it. I'm going for that. It's not in atmosphere, but guess what? Because this apoapse is so far out, you can easily bring that down with maybe less than 10 delta V. So total, you're maybe spending around 200. Well, we're definitely at 257. Let's say I spend another 10 delta V, then it's about 260 delta V. And you could probably accomplish this with less if you actually plan it out a little quicker or a little slower than I did. I'm just kind of like, let's just go here, land here. And that's all I'm spending. So make sure you kind of move your maneuver node around. You know, put an escape at one of the nodes, and then just move it around and see what seems to be most efficient. It takes a little playing with. There are guides online that show you the best exit point of escape as far as the angular of the orbit relative to Kerbin, which is probably this. But you can see I kind of figured that out just from moving the maneuver node. I took the same delta V and saw just how efficient it is along the entire orbit. Alright, I'm going to stop yakking. Fast forward 14 minutes. Let's go back home and see how many points we have. And I know we have a lot. And also down the road, we'll go over rovers. There we go. Accelerating. Uh-oh. Ran out of fuel in those tanks. That's alright. We'll get rid of them. Whoa, hello. Maybe too much. I did more than a Kerbin encounter. I am going to land whether I like it or not. My periapse is way low. In fact, I'm going to increase it some because I don't like going down at that angle. Now, I am going to land on the dark side. If you wanted to land on the light side, then you would have to wait for your moon to get to a different location, preferably here. That way that periapsis would be on the side where the sun is shining. But in this case, I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to land in the dark and see how many points we get. Alright, I think 52,000 meters is fine. So, technically, we don't even need this fuel tank anymore. Like it or not, we're going to land. Now, depending how fast we're going, and we're going pretty fast, we may not land on the first time around. We may just reduce our apoapsis by a whole bunch, but then we'll have to come back around again. But we'll definitely land the second time around, assuming we don't get caught by some other moon. And you have to worry about that when coming back from Minmus, because sometimes the moon gets in the way. But we're not going to run into that problem here. Alright, let's go ahead and I'm going to... Let's turn off the lights. Landing gears up. We have our stuff. We have... You know what? We're still above the moon. Let me go ahead and do another EVA. Let's see if I can get more points. Yes! See if I can do another crew report. Ah, we can't do another crew report. That's fine. Another EVA, we got more points. You kind of want to take advantage of those moments there. You can hold quite a few of those reports, but you can't take more than one surface sample, unfortunately. Alright, let's go ahead and speed her up. Periaps is at 27. We're definitely go around. We're going down, definitely. Just burning retrograde. Actually, you know what? We can land on the day side. Let's do that right now. Because we're about to go out of atmosphere again. Yes, perfect. I think. Yes. At this point, I'm just kind of messing around. I got the points. Let's just hope disaster doesn't strike. I'm going to F5 and save. Actually, I probably shouldn't have done it. But I like to live on the edge. Just a little bit. Oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have. You know, I hope I don't land in those mountains. I do not want to land in mountains. That would be bad. Alright, let's see where I end up. I'm gonna end up in the mountains, aren't I? Oh, gosh. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna angle it south. We're gonna avoid these mountains. I'm gonna burn southward. We're gonna dodge these mountains. I do not want to land in mountains. Landing in mountains would be bad. Alright, that should do it. Whew! Alright, good. We should land a lot safer. Cause there's a lot of points on this vessel. I don't want to lose these points. Alright, we're going to take a risk and... pop! Goes the weasel. Alright, let's speed it up. And you'll see us enter at a pretty decent speed. At least we're not going as fast as we were. We were going to come in at 3,000 meters per second, but we decided to come in just a little slower. Alright. At about 9,000. 8,000. We'll go ahead and deploy our parachutes and start slowing down a little more. Nice flat land. I like that. That's good, because I did not want to run into that mess out there. Or there. That would have been bad. And when we land, I'll attempt another EVA and see if I got points in this biome yet. I don't remember if I did. Good job, Shepwise. You have done well. I think you fooled around a little too long towards the end there, but you still did well. We're still falling at 90 meters per second, but our parachutes have not deployed yet. There's our shadow. And what the heck, we'll turn on our lights. Alright. Now from here, I'm going to fast forward. Hopefully the parachutes won't detach as I'm doing that. Oh, we picked a really good location. Okay. just a tad. I don't think we need that anymore. Okay. And it has landed. All right. Gonna do an EVA. Yes, more points. Cool. All right. I think we've done enough. Let's recover vessel and 419 points received. So you now see the value of landing on the moon. No longer are you scrapping for 8 points here, 9 points there. 419 points. This one trip to the moon. Actually, I probably could have gotten a sample at the location I landed at. I didn't think about that. But that's okay. I am happy with this number, and I'm sure you are too, and you can unlock plenty of technology with that and play around with some stuff, and eventually we're going to get to docking. But I'm thinking the next video will probably cover Minmus, and after that we'll get into station and docking. I'm not sure if we're going to do in-atmospheric flights. I might leave that to you, but I don't know. I might do a brief video on atmospheric flights just to get you started. Alright, I think we've hit the milestone that I think most players, new players, are looking to get to. So I hope that you're happy with these videos and that this has helped you out a lot. Let me know if there's anything else that I missed that you want me to make a video on so I can do that for you. If you have any other how-to questions, I'll see if I can't whip up a quick video for you and maybe keep them a little shorter than this one. So with that said, y'all come back now, you hear? Bye!